If I had a tale that I could tell you, I'd tell a tale sure to make you smile. I've got a tale that I think will make you smile. The best pickpocket in the world. There once was a poor lad who found himself all alone, completely unsupported. Well, the lad knew he needed to work in order to survive, so he went out looking for a job. He went to the baker's. "Please, sir, I'll work for you all day for just a roll or two." Well, the baker looked at the boy. "Well, for a roll or two, we'll try you. Here's an apron." And the boy went to work. Now, the boy wanted to work. He was ready to work. He was willing to work and work hard. But it didn't take long to realize this was not the job for him, because suddenly he began to and his eyes became puffy and his nose began to run and run. It was something about the flour that did not agree with the boy. The baker looked at the boy. "I'm sorry, son. Here's a roll. Be on your way." Well, the lad went down the road and he found the blacksmith. "Please, sir, I'll work for you for just a penny or two." The blacksmith stopped his hammering and looked at the boy. "Oh, son, I don't. Well, if you want to try for a penny, here, let me show you how to work the bellows." And the boy worked. And as I said, he wanted to work. He was willing to work. He really, really wanted to work. But, well, again, it did not take him long to realize that this was not his job. For you see, to put it politely, the boy was thin. Well, he was more than thin. He was scrawny. His arms were like the twigs of a maple sapling. And the blacksmith just shook his head. "Here, son." And he flipped him a penny. "Be off. Find some other work to do." Well, the poor boy found himself in the street with his head down and walking along and wondering what to do. And suddenly he found his hand in the pocket of a passerby. And when he pulled his hand out, he had found a coin in his hand. Well, he immediately ran to the butcher shop. "1 meat pie, please." Oh, did that taste good? His stomach felt so good. He went back out to the street and he found his hand in a pocket of another passerby, and he found another coin. And again, he ran to the butcher. "Another meat pie, please." Oh, that boy slept well that night with a full stomach. Well, the next day, he decided to go out to the street and try this again. And he did well. He had more meat pies that day. And he felt so good that the next day he went out, and on that day he had enough coin in his hand to buy himself a pair of shoes. And the next day, a pair of breeches. And a day after that, a nice linen shirt and a waistcoat. This young lad found his niche. This was the occupation he was meant for. And he practiced it, and he did well. And he was a smart lad. He didn't stay in one place too long. He went from town to town, village to village. And he was so smart that he kept his lips zipped, kept his distance from others, kept this a secret. Well, time went on, and he did so well that one day he made a decision. "I'm going to try my luck in the big town." So he packed his bags and off he went to London. Now, when he got to London, his successes far exceeded his expectations. For London was a busy place. People on the street were always jostling, bumping into each other. This was easy. It wasn't long before this young man had a nice set of clothing, had a full stomach every evening, had a place to live. And now he was able to walk the streets in leisure, taking his time, not taking any wild chances, choosing his marks carefully. And that was exactly what he was doing one day, walking along, when suddenly he felt himself being bumped, and his own pocket was picked. Why, there she is. Why, look at her. I'll get her. It was a young lass, and she was weaving her way through the crowd. Well, he went after her. She turned back and saw that he was in pursuit, and she picked up her pace. So did he. And now the young lad gave chase, and the young lass, she turned around again, and now she was running in earnest. And so was he. He was catching up to her. I'm not going to let her slip by. Well, the young girl slipped down an alley, and so did the boy. He followed her, caught up with her, reached out, grabbed her by the shoulder, and spun her around. He immediately saw the fear that was in the young lass's eyes, for she knew what fate would befall her if she were caught and sent to the Tower of London. But the lad just smiled. You have nothing to fear. Don't worry. Allow me to treat you to lunch. Well, the young lass looked at him and took a step back. She was skeptical. I assure you, I have no other intentions than to just treat you to lunch, please. And she followed him to a stone inn. They sat in a dark corner. 2 of your finest grogs, and whatever's on the menu today, bring plenty of it. And the young lass looked at the mugs, and she picked hers up and drank, and then looked at all the food. Please, help yourself, whatever you want. Well, they ate and they drank and they ate. They talked and they laughed and they talked. And the young man was studying the young woman, and he made a decision. I'd like to make a proposition. I'd like to try something. What say you? And he offered the young woman to be his partner. And he stuck out his hand. I have a good feeling about this. I think it might work. And they shook. Now, once again, this young man's successes far exceeded his expectations. The two worked so well together. They fed off each other. They learned from each other. They did very, very well. It was just a short time after that, the two of them were as wealthy as anyone in the city. And, working so closely together, they experienced propinquity. And she liked him and he liked her, and so he asked her and she said yes, and they were wed. And it was just a short time after that she came to him with some blessed news. Oh, and how happy he was. Why, he will be the best pickpocket in all of London. London? Said she. Ha! He will be the best pickpocket in all of England. England? Said he. Why, she will be the best pickpocket in all of Europe. Europe? Puh. Why, she will be the best pickpocket in all the world. Oh, the couple was so happy. But on the day of the babe's birth, the midwife came to them and said, I don't understand, but this child has been born with his arm. I cannot budge his arm. It's stuck tightly to his side. I'm sorry. And his little fist is balled up. I cannot pry his fingers open. Well, the couple, they were not without means, so they went to a doctor. There is nothing I can do. We'll have to wait till he's older, perhaps. They went to another doctor. When he's older, I will operate, he said. And no matter what they did, the child's arm was stuck fast to his side, would not be budged. His tiny little fingers were curled up into a ball. But the couple did not give up hope. They had heard of a wise one, an old one, a sage, a woman who lived on the outskirts of the city. So they hired a coach. They directed the driver. They came to this small little home. It was a shack, a hovel, with smoke coming out of its chimney. They carried the child up to the front door, and they knocked on the great oaken door. And when it was open, they took a step back. They were somewhat startled. The oldest woman they had ever seen in their lives appeared. Her face was nothing but rivers of wrinkles. She wore a long, flowing purple gown, and around her neck she wore a golden chain. And that golden chain held in the center of her breast a giant pendant. The pendant was encrusted with sparkling little diamonds all around. And in the center of that pendant was an enormous, shiny, red ruby. "Ah, you need help, I can see. What is it? What is your problem?" And they told the old woman, "Bring the child in. I will see what I can see." They walked into the little house, and when their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they saw that the ceiling was nothing but a carpet of hanging herbs. The walls were decorated with nothing but shelf upon shelf upon shelf, jars of different colored liquids, jars containing drying plants and flowers and twigs of every sort. In the center of the room was a giant table. "Place the babe here. Let me look at him." Well, they put the child on the table, and the old woman, she leaned over the child. And as she did, that child's eyes opened wide. And he looked at that pendant that had slipped from the woman's breast and began to sway back and forth. And that child's eyes opened wide, began to track that pendant back and forth and forth and back. "Ah, look how bright he is. Oh, he's a bright one, he is." And the old woman leaned over a bit more. And as she did, suddenly that little child's arm sprang out from his side, and his tiny little fist sprung open, and those wee tiny little fingers reached out for that pendant. But as that little fist opened, out from that tiny little palm slipped the golden wedding band of the midwife. He was the best pickpocket in the world.